This conference will now be recorded.
Well, in the last class, we discussed about different properties inside the source qualifier transformation, right? So, if you want to load the specific record from the source, we have to write a query inside the source qualifier transformation properties. Okay, and beginning of the execution, pre-SQL query, end of the execution, post-SQL query, right? So, before loading the data into the target table, if you want to execute any SQL query, then we have to write a query in pre-SQL. Okay, so after loading the data into the target table, if you want to execute any SQL query, then we have to write a query inside the post-SQL query, right? Okay, so here in pre-SQL, we can write these commands DDL, DML, TCL. So if you have gone through my SQL first class recording, there I have explained what are the different types of languages like DDL, data definition language, data manipulation language, transaction control language. Like in each and every type of language in SQL, we have different commands: create to create a table, alter to alter the table structure. Okay, so if you want to rename the name, rename the column, or add the new column in the existing table, right? Then we can write a alter command. Drop command is for to drop whole table permanently. Drop table, if you write a table name, the table will be dropped permanently. Truncate is for to truncate the table data permanently. This is also another important interview question. They will ask like, tell me what is the difference between drop. First they will ask about difference between delete and truncate. Okay, so we have a delete command also in SQL. So what is the difference between delete and truncate? Delete command will delete the data temporarily from a table, whereas truncate command will delete whole table data permanently, but the structure will be there. This is the first difference between delete and truncate. And the second difference is we can delete a specific record from a table by using the delete command, whereas by using the truncate we cannot delete a specific record from a table. Okay, so these two are the major difference between delete and truncate. Next they will ask, tell me what is drop. Drop command is for to drop whole table permanently. So if we execute drop table name, then whatever the table we have used, that table will delete permanently. Nothing will be there. So whole table will be gone. That is the difference between drop, truncate, and delete. This I have already explained in the SQL. So you can go through those SQL recordings also parallelly. We have only 5 recordings every day. One recording we can go through it so that you will get some more basic SQL knowledge. So like that, here in pre-SQL, you can write these commands. Pre and post SQL, you can write these commands like DDL, DML, TCL. These commands you can write in pre and post SQL. Okay, so whereas in SQL query, you can write only DRL. DRL means data retrieval language. That means select a statement. In DRL, we have only one command, select statement. That only you can write here in SQL query. Okay, so in SQL query, you can write only DRL, data retrieval language command you can use. Okay, so whereas in pre-SQL and post-SQL, you can write ETL, DML, TCL, whatever the command we have, those we can write in pre and post-SQL. Next, we have other properties also like user-defined join source filter. We never use or very rare, so those are not required. The other properties are not required. This tracing level we will discuss. This property we have in each and every transformation. We'll discuss this property at the end. Okay, so other properties we never use. So just you should have to know what is SQL query, what is pre-SQL and post-SQL. When do we have to write a query in pre-SQL? When do we have to write a query in PostgreSQL? Those things you should have to know. Okay, so that's all about this source qualifier transformation properties. So those 3 properties, SQL, pre-SQL, only those properties mainly we will use inside the source qualifier transformation in many of the types. Okay, next. So after this, we have another, transformation. Next, we'll move on to the next transformation, which is expression transformation. Okay. So initial few classes, we will be discussing about each and every transformation properties. Okay. So here we have expression transformation. So what is the use of expression transformation? When do we have to use expression transformation? So expression transformation mainly we use to implement the SQL or any other functions. Okay. So in SQL we have different types of functions, numeric functions, string functions, and date functions. Like that, we have different types of functions in SQL. Okay. So you can go through those SQL functions. Okay. And so here today what you have to do is after this Informatica recording, so you also have to go through that SQL recordings. So I have shared the SQL recording. Day two recording. If you go there, then there you will come to know like a few of the SQL functions. You can open this day two record in SQL. Just show you here. I explained about. So you can see here we have some functions, right? So okay, so single row functions, numeric functions, string functions, date functions, conversion functions, miscellaneous functions, group functions, right? These things I explained in the SQL session. Today, out of these functions, few of the functions I'll explain here in Informatica class. Okay, so I would request you to go through this day two SQL recording. Okay, so that here I have explained many other functions also. Okay, fine. So if you don't have the SQL recording, just let me know. I will send you the link to download the SQL recording. So along with this today's session, you also have to go through the SQL day two recording, because so there I have explained the different types of functions. All those functions we will use here in Informatica expression transformation. Right. So to implement the SQL or any other functions means in Informatica we have some functions. Okay. So to use those functions also we use expression transformation, and to hard code the values. So if you want to hard code the values in a mapping, then also we use expression transformation. We will see what is meant by hard code the value, how to hard code the value, and also to do calculations. So while loading the data from source to target table, we don't want to load the same data into the target. We have to do some calculations. So after doing the calculation, the calculated salary or calculated data we have to load into the target table. In that scenario also, we have to use expression transformation. Okay. So these 3 points you have to remember. Okay, so when do we have to use expression transformation? Means expression transformation we have to use to implement any SQL functions or any other functions. If you want to create, then definitely in our mapping we have to create expression transformation, and also to have to do the calculations, and also we use expression transformation. Okay, now first let's start with understanding SQL function. Okay, so there is a table here, EMP, EXP, S1. EXP means expression. For expression transformation, we have to give the table name like this. Okay. So that by seeing the table name, you will come to know for which transformation we have created this table. Right. So now here we have to create the table with 4 columns. Till last class, we were creating the table with only 3 columns: employee number, employee name, salary. Right. Now you have to create a table with 4 columns: employee number, first name, last name, salary, right? So with 4 columns you have to create. An employee number data type is a number, first name, last name data type varchar2, and salary again it's a number. Source table should have 4 columns, whereas the target table should have 3 columns: employee number, employee name, salary. So like that you have to create a table first. So let me show you here. The select statement, select star from EMP, EXP, S1. I have already created the table in my system. You have to create a table with this name while doing the practice: EMP underscore EXP S1. Okay, with 4 columns like that. Employee number, first name, FNAME means first name, this is last name, this is salary. Like that, you create a source table with 4 columns. Okay, and then you have to create a target table with the name EMP This table should have 3 columns: employee number, employee name, salary. Like that, we should have 3 columns only. Okay, now we have to extract the data from the source table, transform and load into the target table. So while loading the data from source to target table, if you see name in source, we have 2 columns. First name we have in one column, last name we have in one column. While loading into the target table, we have to load the full name into the target. We have only employee name column. So we have to combine the first name, last name and load as a full name into the target table. So this is our requirement. So while loading the data from source to target, for name we do not have 2 different columns. We have a single column in the target. We have to combine the first name and last name, load as a full name into the target. So for that, in SQL, we have a function called concat function. Concat is one of the SQL functions. Okay, so concat function is for to concatenate the first name and last name, to combine the first name and last name. Okay, so inside this concat function, if you write concat of first name comma last name, if you write, that will return the combination of both the column values. So it will combine first name and last name and it will return as a single name. Okay, so now we will see here how to use the concat function in our mapping to concatenate the first name and last name. Fine. So our source and target tables are ready. Now we are going to start creating the mapping. To start create with the mapping, first step we have to import the source definition. Go to the menu sources, import from database, enter the source table name, and you have to copy the username, password, connect. So here, first step we have to import the source definition. So like that, select the source definition, click on OK, and then second step, go to the target designer, clear all, copy the target table name, go to the menu targets, import from database, username, password, connect, select the target table name, click on OK. So imported the target definition. Third step, create mapping. Go to the menu mappings, create m underscore. Okay, so emp underscore exp underscore s1 t1 load. So like that, some name we can give like this, and then okay. So after giving the name to the mapping, from the sources folder, we have to select the source definition, drag and drop the source definition, and open targets folder. Select the target definition, drag and drop the target definition. Right? Okay. So now here we have like this in the mapping. Okay, now here we know name we have in 2 columns here, whereas in target we have only one column. We have to combine first name and last name, and we have to load the full name into the target. For that, we have to create concat function. Concat to, since we are talking about the function, which transformation we have to create to write the function? Expression transformation we have to create. Okay, suppose let's say without creating the expression transformation, can't we connect like this? Employee number to the employee number, salary to the salary, and first name and last name. Select these 2 ports. Can't we connect to the from 2 ports to a single port like this? Means no. You can see here it is showing some error message. Okay, so we should not connect like that. Okay, so we should not connect like that. Okay, so 1 second, hold on. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Is it clear, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
Divesh, can you hear me now? I think Divesh not able to hear. Viraj, Shana, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, I hear you.
Yes. Now you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. Fine. So like that, here we cannot give the link from multiple ports to a single port. Okay. So we cannot connect the link from multiple ports to a single port. Remember, in Informatica, many to one is invalid. Okay. So many to one is invalid, right? Okay, but one to many is valid. One port, what is meant by many to one? Many to one means now we are here we have tried to connect multiple ports to a single port, and it is showing which is invalid. We should not connect like that. Okay, so but one port to multiple ports we can connect, that we'll see in another scenario. But here we are trying to connect many to one, which is invalid. So remember, from two ports you cannot give the link to a single port. Okay, so we call these are ports, right? In the last class I have told. So here we have the ports, right? These are the ports. So from two ports you cannot give the link to a single port. Okay, so that is the reason here, since that is not possible, and we know there is a concat function. To write the function, we have to create a transformation here expression. To create any transformation in the mapping, go to the menu transformation, create, and you can see we have list of transformations available in this mapping. Okay, so these are the list of transformations which are available in Informatica. So here we have around 30 to 35 transformations are there. Even though we have those many number of transformations, in real time max to max 10 to 15 transformations only we will use. Here also max 15 transformations, 15 to 20 transformations we'll discuss in our training. Okay, so now from this list, now we need expression transformation. You can see here we have an expression, select, and here give the name as exp. Expression transformation name starts with exp, and then create. Done. So with that the expression transformation has created. We have to keep expression transformation here. Can you tell me, after creating the expression transformation, have we got any ports inside the transformation? Do we have any ports here in expression? Do we have any ports in expression?
No.
No.
No. Zero ports. So we don't have any ports here in expression transformation. Okay, so what we have to do after creating the expression transformation, we have to select all the ports from the source qualifier, select all, place the cursor on the first port, drag and drop to the expression, so that all will be created, all the ports will be copied at once. Okay, and then from employee number to the employee number, since there is no change in the employee number, we have to connect employee number directly. Salary to salary, there is no change, we have to connect like that. And the first name, last name, we have to connect to the employee name. Okay, so for that, before connecting like that, so we have to write the function. So open the expression transformation, right click, edit, and then go to the ports tab. Okay, so to write any function, so what we have to do, currently we have only 4 ports, right? Employee number, first name, last name, salary, like that, we have only 4 ports. Okay, so now we have to select the last port, and then here we have a button to add a new port to this transformation. We have to click on the new port. If you click on that button, a new port will be created with the name new field. Always, to write any function, we have to create a new port like this. After creating the port, we can rename this port. So we have created this new port for employee name. At the end, I will give underscore wo. I will tell you why I have given underscore wo at the end. And then data type, you can have string or end string. Anything is fine. Okay. Precision, now we have a 10 here. Okay, so you can have 10 or 100, anything is fine. This is our we are creating. So you can give precision as 10 or 100. And then here we have IOV. I means input port, O means output port, V variable port. Variable port we will discuss later in the future class. For now we will talk about only input and output. Okay, so input and output both are enabled by default. If input is enabled, that will receive the data from previous transformation. If output is enabled, that will send the data. We already discussed about that in the previous class, input and output port. So if input port is enabled, that will send the data to the, if input is enabled, that will receive the data from previous transformation. If output also enabled, that will send the data to the next transformation. Okay, so like that we have to create a new port, and so for this new port, so we have to write the function. To write the function, always you have to disable the input checkbox. I repeat, after creating the new port, to write a function, we have to disable the input port. Then only right side this expression field will be enabled. If you don't disable, then here you can, if you don't disable this input checkbox, you can see here you will not be able to write the function. In this place, we have to write the function. To write the function, always we have to disable the input port, then only it will allow you to write the function. So after disabling that input port, click on this down arrow. If you click on down arrow, you will get another window. Now you can see we have got another window here. After clicking on down arrow, we have got another window here. Now remove this employee name underscore o. Left side you can see here we have the functions tab. Under functions tab, if you open the all functions folder, we have so many functions here. Right? There are many functions. Now out of this, in our requirement, now we have to use concat function. So from this list you can see here we have the concat function. So you should not type here. If you type, sometimes it may happen to write the incorrect spelling. That is the reason. Select the concat function, double click. So if you double click, automatically you will get the concat function like this at the right side. Okay. So inside the concat function, we have to write the first name and last name. For that, here itself you have to go to the ports tab. Right? We have a ports tab. So inside the bracket, we have to write the first name, and column name also you should not type. If you type, sometimes it may happen to write the incorrect spelling. That is the reason. From the ports tab, you can select the port, double click, automatically you will get like that, first name, comma, and then we have to give the last name. Select the last name, double click. That's it. So this is how we have to use the concat function. Concat of means bracket. You should not write a OF of. Whenever I say of, concat of, or any function of means bracket open, bracket close. Okay, of means bracket open, bracket close. Inside that, you have to write this first name and last name like this. So here, comma. Okay, so what this will do? So this will receive the first name and last name from the source. It will combine, concat function will combine the first name and last name, and it will return the output as a full name. So after writing the function, here we have a validate button. We have to click on validate so that it will check whether this function is valid or not. Okay, so sometimes if you write the incorrect spelling, then it will say invalid. Okay, so here this is valid, click on OK, just click on OK. Now you can see for this one only in output checkbox is enabled. That is the reason at the end we have to give underscore O. By seeing the port name, we will come to know, okay, this is the output port. If only input checkbox is enabled, at the end we have to give underscore I or in. Okay, some companies for output port, they will write at the end underscore out. If only V checkbox is enabled, then they will say at the end underscore V, right? So by seeing the naming convention, we will come to know whether it is an input port or output port or variable port, right? Okay. So like that, we should have to decide which is the input port, which is the output port. So if it only output checkbox is enabled, at then we have to write underscore O. If only input checkbox is enabled, then we have to write underscore I. Only V checkbox is enabled, and then we have to write underscore V. Okay. So that's it. Click on apply. Okay. So as soon as we click on apply, okay, you can see whatever the new port we have created, that we can see here. And since for this port only output checkbox is enabled, we have right side arrow here, right? But do we have the arrow left side here? No, right? You can see here by seeing also we can identify input is disabled. So that means you cannot give the link to this port from this previous transformation. So assume with this we have created mapping session workflow everything and we have started execution. As soon as we start execution of this mapping, so what it will do, it will start sending the data from the source. From the source first name and last name it will send here. So this concat function will receive the first name and last name. Okay, and after concatenating the first name last name, it will pass that full name to the employee name underscore wo port. Now employee name underscore wo will have the full name. That full name we have to load into the target. That is the reason select the employee name underscore wo, drag and drop here to the employee name. And you should not connect first name last name. You just have to leave the first name last name as it is. We no need to do anything for that first name and last name. So first name and last name values will get from the source. Those first name and last name values it will pass to the concat function. Concat function it will do the concatenate of first name last name, and after concatenating whatever the full name we are getting, that it will pass to the employee name underscore wo, and that employee name underscore wo we have to select and give the link to the target employee name, so this target employee name we will get the full name. That's it. With this, we have created the mapping. This is how for any function to write. So we have to create expression transformation, go to the ports tab, we have to create a new port, and then make sure the data type, since employee name contains a string, that's the reason data type string. If it is a number type of data, you have to select the double and then disable the input checkbox, and then you have to write the concat function here like this. Okay, so apply okay, that's it. Now with this we have created the mapping. Go to the menu repository, save. Now for this mapping, now we are going to create a session task workflow, and then we'll execute and see the output. So go to the workflow manager, right click, clear all tasks, create s underscore mapping name, create. Okay, so now from this list we have to select the mapping. This is the mapping exp s1t1 mapping only we have created. Click on OK. Done. And go to the workflow manager, workflows, create. Okay, so this is the mapping name. Click on OK. So after giving the name to the workflow, then we have to select the session, drag and drop the session, go to the menu task, link task. Okay, so after that we have to save. Now it is ready to execute. Right click, start workflow. As soon as we click on start workflow, from the source row by row, first it will read the first record. So in the source table, first record we have, so in the source table, first record we have. Okay, so first row we have here node 10 Ali MS 10,000, right? Okay, so 10 Ali MS 10,000 it will pass to the expression transformation. So Ali MS here we will get, it will pass to that concat function. It will do concatenate of first name last name, right? So output we will get Ali MS as a full name, and it will send it to the expression, sorry, target definition. Okay, so like that it will load. Once first record loaded, then second record, then third record, like one by one it will send it to the expression transformation. So you can see total it has read 5 records from the source, 5 records loaded into the target table. Now if I execute the target table, so here Ali MS we have in a single, we have two columns. Second we have Ravichandra, like that we have in 2 columns. In target table now we'll see those 2 column values in a single column. So you can see we have Ali MS we have got in a single column. Like Ravi Chandra also we have got in a single column. So like that, all the column values we have got in a single column. This is full name, like that it has loaded. So that's how we have to use expression transformation to use the functions. Clear? Any questions till now? Clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay, so if you go through those SQL recordings, you will come to know many other functions. Got it? Fine, next. So we'll discuss the another function. Okay, so we'll move on to the next scenario. The second example. So you can see here we have EMP, EXP, S2. The second scenario, this is our second source table. Here you create a source table with the same three columns, employee number, employee name, salary, and insert few records in the source table. Target table, employee number, employee name, salary, along with these three columns. Okay, so here we have five more new columns: create date, update date, run date, company name, status. Total 8 columns. With 8 columns, we have to create the table, target table. Okay, so first I will show you creating the table. So EMP, EXP, S2. S2 is our source table. So you have to create the S2 same way. Insert few records in the source table, and then T2. So T2 target table also should be okay. So already target table is there in my system. I have already created. Now what I will do is I will just drop this table and I will recreate the table. Okay, to show you how to create a table with this create date, update date, run date columns. Right? Drop table, table name. Right? Okay, remember, since I have already created in my system the table, I am using the drop command. In your system, you no need to execute this drop. Okay, so you have to think why I am executing the drop here. In your system, you will not be having this table, right? So if you execute the drop command, you will get the error. Table does not exist. Okay, so to show you, I am going to drop the target table and I will recreate the target table again. Okay, so I have executed the drop query. So the target table is dropped. So source table I have created and I have inserted few records in the source table, but currently the target table does not exist because I have dropped the table. Now I'm going to recreate the target table with all these columns, right? We have total 8 columns. With 8 columns, I will show you how to create a table. So create table. I'm creating the target table now here. Okay, so employee number, number data type, employee name, varchar 2 of 10. Okay, so and then we have a salary, number. Okay, and then after salary, we have columns like create date, update date, run date, company name, status. In the column name, you should not give the space, you can give the underscore. Okay, so here we'll give the column name as create date. Okay, so this is how you have to write the column name, create underscore date. You should not give the space like this. This is invalid. Okay, so there should not be space in the table name or a column name. Okay, so create date, and for this create date data type should be okay timestamp. So if you do the data type as a timestamp in this create date column, we will get date and time, both we will get. Okay, so for the create date data type is a timestamp. The way how we have given the data type is a number for the number type of column. For the character type of column, we have given the varchar 2, right? In the same way, for the date column, okay, so we have to give the data type as timestamp. Timestamp data type will allow to insert date and time. Okay, comma update date, update 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 underscore date. Okay, so update date column we have to give the data type timestamp. This is a data type timestamp data type comma. Okay, so in the next line you can write company name. Next column what we have, not company name, run date. Okay, run underscore date. So here I will give the data type as date. So for the date columns, we have two different data type. One is timestamp data type, the other one is a date data type. So if you give timestamp data type, then you will get date and time. Both you can see in that column. Okay, whereas if you give the data type date, you can see only date. So in this column, run date column, it will allow to insert only date. So it will not display the time. Okay. So if you want date and time to be displayed or allowed to insert, then we should have to give the data type as timestamp so that it will insert date and time. So if you don't want time, if you want only insert date, then you can give the data type as date. Like that, either you can give the timestamp or the date data type for the date columns. Then comma, and then the next column we have company name. Okay, so comp underscore name, right? So here the company name means like that employee belongs to which company. So company name will have the character type of data. That's the reason we have to give varchar 2 of 10, right? So varchar 2 of 10, and then after company name we have a status column. We have to load the numbers 1 0 like that. One means active status like that. So here also we have to give the data type as number like that. With these columns here we have 8 columns, right? Employee number, employee name, salary, create date, update date, run date, company name, status. Like that we can write a query and we can execute the query so that the table will be created. And now you can see the target table will have all the columns whatever we have given in that while creating the table. Okay, so even though we have these columns, we are getting the data from the source only for the first 3 columns: employee number, employee name, salary data we are getting from the source. But how about create date, update date, run date? For all these columns, we are not getting the data from the source, right? If the data is not coming from the source, then what data we have to populate, what values we have to populate in this column? Okay, so in create date column, what value we have to populate, update date, what value we have to populate, how we will come to know? For that, team lead or technical lead, they will provide you the document, technical document. So that technical document will have, okay, if the data is not coming from the source table, then what values we have to populate, they will provide in the technical document. Okay, since the data is not coming from the source, if for created column, you load the system date. Okay, for update date column, you load the system date. In run date column, I want to have the date like this 7/8 some 2019 date I want to have in this run date column. Company name column. So since all the employees are belongs to HP company, you load the company name as HP here. And the status I want 1. For all the employees, I want to load the status as 1. Like that, if the data is not coming from the source, for all the employees, what values we have to load for those columns, they have provided like this. Assume your team lead has provided the values like this. Okay, now by seeing these values, so in create date column, we have to use the sysdate. Sysdate is one of the SQL functions. Okay, sysdate is one of the SQL functions. And update date also we have to populate the system date. Again, that is also one of the SQL functions. And in run date column, we have to populate some specific date. So whenever you have a date to insert, always we have to use the date like this. We have to use to underscore date function. Okay, so to underscore date function is a conversion function. We have to use to underscore date function whenever you have a requirement to insert any specific date in a column in a table. Okay, so to underscore date within single quotes we have to write a date, and then this is called date format. Okay, so DD represents the date. So 7 represents date, and since we have here, the 8 represents month and 2019 represents year. So like that, so we have to specify the format, what that 7 represents, what 8 represents, what 2019 represents. So this is the format of the date which we have to give. Okay, so like that. So since here we are talking about the sysdate function and run date function, this one to date function. So functions means which transformation we have to create in our mapping. transformation. Inside the expression transformation, to populate the values for these create date, update date, run date columns, we have to use the functions, this date functions, to date functions we have to use, and also the same value HP we have to populate in company column, company name column, status we have to populate as one. So these called hard coded values. So HP and 1 we will be hard coding inside the expression transformation. Hard code means whatever the value we will be writing inside the expression transformation, same as it is going to be loaded inside the target table. That is the reason we call that as a hard coded value. Okay, we'll see practically all these things. Now our source and target tables are ready. So you know how to create a target table with a create date, update date, run date, company name, status, all these columns I have shown you here. Now we'll start creating the mapping. First we'll import the source definition. We'll go here, clear all sources, import database, enter the source table name, connect. This is our source table, click on OK. Okay, imported the source definition. Next, target definition we have to import. Copy the target table name. Go to the menu targets, import from database, and here we have to enter like this the target table name. Open this folder, select the target table name, click on OK. Right? So imported the target definition. You can see we have got all the columns here inside the target definition. So for created, updated, we have sys timestamp. For this, we have the date. Next, mapping. Go to the menu mappings, create. M underscore, EMP underscore, EXP underscore, S2, T2 load. So like that, we can give the mapping name. Okay, you also please give the same name. Don't give your own table names. And also still many of you have not started practicing. Okay, so if you don't practice day by day, it will become difficult to understand, right? So please do the practice, and if you have any doubts during the practice, you can let me know. So till here, you know, creating the source table, target table, importing the source definition, target definition, right? So after that, we know here we have the date columns. Remember, whenever you have the create date, update date columns, definitely we will be populating with the system date in those columns. For that, we have to create expression transformation in the mapping. In real time also, many of our scenarios, we will have this create date, update date column. Definitely, we will be creating the expression transformation to populate those column values. So to create expression, we have to go to the menu, transformation, create. From this list, we have to select the expression transformation. So here we have expression, give the name as EXP, then create, done. Expression transformation as created. Right? Now tell me how many new ports we have to create in this expression transformation to write the functions and to hard to code the values. How many new ports we have to create inside the expression transformation? Any guess? So in the previous, exactly. In the previous scenario I've shown you, right? To write concat function, we have created one new port in expression. Now here, so we have 5 new ports: create date, update date, run date, company name, status. So for all these things, we have to write the functions and how to code the values inside the expression transformation. Okay. So for that, we have to create 5 new ports. We have to create inside the expression transformation. To create new ports, open, edit, go to the ports tab, and select the last port. So that if you click on this button, a new port will be created below to the salary. Otherwise, if employee number is selected, and if you click like this, and the new port will be created below the employee number. Okay, now we want all the new ports to be created below. So by mistake, if you have created like this, here we have a delete button. So if you click on it, that will be deleted. Select the last port here and then click on this button 5 times so that 5 new ports will be created. 2, 3, 4. 5. So like that, now you can see 5 new ports I have created here, and we will rename these ports. So the first one here is for create date. So we can give create date underscore wo. All these are the output ports. Now I am going to make all these ports are output ports. So create date underscore wo. Second one is update date underscore wo. Third one is run date underscore wo. Fourth one is company name underscore wo. And the fifth one is status underscore wo. So like that, all these are the output ports. We have to rename the ports. And then data type. So create date is not a string, it's a date. So for that you have to change the data type to date and time. So whenever you have the date timestamp or date data type, so you have to select the data type here, date slash time. In the same way, update date also, this is also date slash time, and run date also, here we'll have the date, this is also date slash time. Right, for a create date update date, make sure the data type is date time, and then company name, it's a character type of data string. Okay, so you can just leave as a string. And then status, here we as per the requirement they have given status, we have to load as one means number, right? So for the number type of data, here we have to select the data type as double. So select that one and double, like that. Okay, now so we have set the proper data types for each and every port here. Next, coming to the disabling the input ports. So as I told you, to write the function we have to disable the input, then only these boxes will enable. So for all these output ports we have to disable the input checkbox, and then in expression here we have to start writing the functions. Open this here to populate the system date and time. So we can write sys timestamp function like this. So sys timestamp or sys date also you can write. If you write sys date, you will get only system date. If you write sys timestamp, we have given the data type as a timestamp, right? So that is the reason we'll give sys timestamp. Okay, so sys timestamp function will get date and time validate. Now you can see expression. For each and every port you have to validate, because sometimes there may be happen to write incorrect spelling. That is the reason we have to validate. In the same way, this one update date. So update date also click on this and remove this one. Here also you have to write the sys timestamp like that. Or under all functions also you will have the sys timestamp. Select and double click so that you will get right side like this. Okay, so validate so that it will display expression parsed successfully. Next, the third one, run date. So here they have given some specific date. So we have to load for all the employees 7, 8, 20, 19. Like that, they have given the date. So as I told you, whenever we have a date, specific date, a particular date we want to insert inside a table, we have to use to underscore date function. So that function will be available under here. Okay, so you can see here also we have to underscore date. So you can type or you can select and double click like this. And inside that you have to write the date like this, 7, 8, 20, 19. Within single quotations you have to write, and then comma, again within single quotations you have to write 7 means that is date dd slash 8 represents month slash, and for year we have to give 4 y's here. So this is how we have to use to date function. This is very important in real time also. Many of our scenarios, whenever we will be having the particular date to insert, then we will be using this to date function. Okay, whatever we are using here, everything we'll use in real time, same as it is. Okay, so like that we will write the to date function. If you want to have any date to be inserted in any date column, then we have to write like this, then validate. So it should display password successfully. Okay, if any error you are getting, you have to see why, what mistake you have made, and then you have to correct it. Just click on OK. So like that we have to use to underscore date function. Now company name. Company name, all the employees are belongs to HP. Let's say they have given the company name as HP. So what we have to do, we have to hard code the HP here. To hard code the HP, since it's a character type of data within single quotations, you have to write HP like this. This is called hard coding a string inside the expression transformation. To hard code a string inside the expression transformation, within single quotations we have to write that string. Because why we are calling this as a hard coded means, since here I have written the HP, same HP it is going to be loaded inside the target table. Whatever the value here we have written, same as it is, if it is going to be loaded inside the target table, then we can call that as a hard coded value or a hard coded string. Okay, in the same way, status we have to load for all the employees one, just we have to write one, that's it. Now this one under status column in the target table for all the employees is going to be loaded. Okay, validate. We no need to write a function, just one we have to write. This is hard coded number. Okay, and if you see here, this is called hard coded number, this is called hard coded string, and we also call this as a hard coded date, because whatever the date here we have written, same as it is 7/8/2019 as it is going to be inserted inside the target table for this run date column. That's the reason we call this as a hard coded date. Hard coded date, hard coded string, hard coded number. Okay, right? So like that, and these are the functions, and inside this toDate function we have hard coded the date. What we call this one, inside the toDate function we have hard coded the date to insert the same date inside the target table under this run date column. So like that, we have to write the functions, and we can hard code the date string numbers inside the expression transformation. Click on apply. Okay, that's it. Now set all these ports, place the cursor on the first port employee number, drag and drop on employee number, so that all the links will be given at a time. That's it. With this we have created the mapping. Go to the menu repository saved and create session workflow. Underscore, we have to give the mapping name here, so we can copy the mapping name from here, edit. So from here we can copy the mapping name and then create, and this is S2T2 load. Click on OK and then OK. Every time we no need to give the connection, automatically it will take. Give the mapping name, click on OK, and this is the session. Drag and drop task, pink task, and then connect like this, save. Now it is ready to execute. To start execute, right click start workflow. So it will extract row by row. For the first three columns, data will get from the source. Parallelly, for the other columns, data will get loaded from the expression transformation. Whatever the logic we have written here, or whatever the functions we have written, you can see. So it has read total 4 records from the source, all the 4 records loaded into the target table. Now in this target table, if I execute the query, we can see data loaded in this target table. The first three columns data loaded from the source, right? And you can see here we have written sys timestamp function, and we have given the data type as a timestamp. That is the reason you can see here for these two columns we have got the date and time. Okay, so whereas for the run date, while creating the table, we have given the data type as a date. That's the reason we have got only date here. We don't have the time inside this run date column. And company name HP, and the status one we have hard coded inside the expression transformation. Same for all the rows, we have got the same values like this. Got it? This is how we have to use expression transformation to write multiple functions. Okay, so we no need to create multiple expression transformation. Now in one expression transformation, we have written multiple functions, and also we have hard-coded the values. You no need to create separate expression. In one expression transformation only, for all the ports, we can write the functions and we can hard-code the values. Got it? Any doubts here? Okay, so we'll see another last example in expression transformation. So here we have EMBXPS3 source table, target table. While loading the data from source to target table, okay, so same employee number, same employee name we will be loading, but salary should not be the same. Salary, it should not be the same salary. So what we have to do before loading the salary, we have to check if the salary is less than or equal to 100, we have to add 100 to their current salary, else we have to load the same salary. Got it? So I repeat, while loading the salary from source to target, so we should not load the same salary. We have to check and we have to do the calculation. Okay, so calculation means adding 100 if it is less than or equal to 200, right? This logic we have to implement. If else logic we have to implement. If check the salary, if it is first record whether it is less than or equal to 200. If yes, then add 100. Else, if it is not less than 200, then load the same salary as it is. So that's the requirement here. Okay, so to implement this if else logic in Informatica, we have a function called if function, IIF. IIF is a function, it's not a condition. This function allows three parameters. Okay, so remember, if function in expression transformation allows three parameters. The first parameter is a condition. This is a condition. Okay, so inside the if function we will write a condition. The first parameter is a condition, and the second parameter, so if the condition is true, what logic we have to execute, that we have to write as a second parameter. This is called parameter. The terminology is important. And the third parameter, if the condition is false, then whatever the logic we want to execute, that we have to pass as a third parameter inside the if function. I repeat, so if function we have in Informatica, so if function allows three parameters. The first parameter is the condition. So if the condition is true, then it returns the immediate, which is the second parameter. This logic will execute. If the condition false, then it will execute the last parameter, the third parameter logic. This if function also very important. Many of the scenarios in real time, we will use this if function to implement the if logic. We will inside the function we'll check the we'll write a condition. If the condition is true, then it will execute the immediate logic. If the condition false, then it returns the last logic. Okay, now tell me, for the first record we have salary as 100. So suppose, let's say if you pass the first record to this if function, now tell me which logic it is going to execute. Will it execute sal plus 100 or sal? What it will return the output? What is the output for the first record after execution of this if function for the first record?
Sal plus 100.
It's 200.
It's 200.
200, right? Because the condition is true, it will execute the immediate logic, that is 200. How about for the second record? Which one will execute, sal plus 100 or
It will be same 200.
same 200? How about third record?
Same.
Condition false. If the condition false, which parameter or which logic it is going to execute? If the condition false, immediate logic. If the condition false, the last one, salary. What is the current salary? 300. That it will return as the output. For the third record, what will be the output?
300.
300. How about fourth record? What is the output for the fourth record? If we use this if function,
400.
400.
yes, 400. Okay, like that it will execute. Right? Okay, now we will see quickly for this one. So you have to create the source and target table. Here also, I have already created the source table with the name empxts3. Execute the statement. And you can see we have some four records with these columns: employee number, employee name, salary. With these columns, you create a EMP-EXP-S3 table, and then a T3 table, target. This is our target table in expression. Third example, target, same columns, but we do not have any data. Now we will create a mapping for this to do the calculation. So here we are going to use the expression transformation for the calculations. Import the source definition. Next, target definition. This is our target. Go to the menu, targets, import from database. Okay, and then mapping designer, go to the menu mappings, create m underscore emp exp s3 t3 load. So like that we have to create a mapping, then click on OK. Okay, so this is a exps3, drag and drop the source definition, drag and drop the target definition. Now here the requirement is we should not load the same salary as it is. Okay, so we have to check whatever the salary coming from the source. So here in the source table, we have salary like 100, 200, 300 like that. If it is less than or equal to 200, we have to add 100 before inserting into the target table. Okay, so we have to check and we have to do the calculation. So to check and do the calculation, we have a if function. Again, since we are talking about the function here, in our mapping, we have to create expression. Go to the menu transformation, and from this list, we have to select the expression and then exp create. Done. Select all these ports, drag and drop to the expression. Employee number, employee name, there is no change. We can connect employee number. Can we connect salary to salary here? No. If we connect salary to salary, it will load the same salary. We don't want to load the same salary. So we want to do the calculated salary. So for that sal underscore go, we have to create a new output code. This is not a string. Salary will have the number type of data. For number, we have to select the double and then disable the input. Here we have to write that if function. So we also have that if function under functions folder. So you can see we have IIF. So to select double click, you will get like this. Here we have tried. So inside the if function, we have tried a condition. Sal less than or equal to 200. Then we have to add 100 to the current salary. Else, it should have to return the same salary. So this is the first parameter, and this is the second parameter, and this is the third parameter inside the if function. Okay, so if this condition is true, okay, then it will return the immediate logic or immediate parameter. If the condition false, then whatever the value we have inside the salary, that it will return. That's it. This is how we have to write a function. Apply. Okay, got it. Now we have to write like this. Click on apply. Okay. Now this here we will get the calculated salary. That calculated salary we have to connect to the target. We should not connect salary to salary. We just have to we have to use that calculated salary. That calculated salary we have to connect it to the target. That's it. This is how we have to use the if function. If function also very important. Again in our future classes also many of our scenarios we will be using if function. Got it? Say done. Now for this mapping we will create a session task, workflow, and then we'll execute it. X3. So please do the practice. If you don't practice, then it would be difficult to understand. Still many of you have not started practicing, and I have asked you to send the screenshots in WhatsApp, whatever you are doing, so that I'll also review it once. So right click start workflow. As soon as we click on start workflow, it will start execute. So row by row, it will send to the expression, and then it will pass the salary here. It will check the salary for the first record. If the condition is true, then it will add 100. That that calculated salary, it will send it to the target, and then second record, third record, like that, one after the other. Now in the target table here, if I execute this query, we can see here for the first and second record in the source we have 100 and 200. Here we have got after calculation we have got 200 and 300. Got it? So like that we have so many scenarios. Okay, so now in today's session we discussed about the expression transformation, and inside the expression transformation we have seen different functions like concat function, how to use this timestamp function, how to use, and then to date function, how to use, and then also we have seen how to hard code the values inside the expression transformation like date, string, number, and also we have seen how to use if function inside the expression transformation. That's it. We'll stop here today. and then we'll continue tomorrow with other transformation. Now you practice these 3 scenarios today. That's it. Thank you. Any questions or any doubts? Fine. That's all for the day. Thank you. We'll continue tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.